Hi, this is Roger from Tiger Shark Studios. Just going to do a video today just to talk about some of my research material, some of the books that I've gathered over the years, and just some of the things I use to help me with my design work and creating artwork for games, characters, vehicles, and environments. So I'm going to start off today by just talking about vehicles. And I've got a selection of books that I've collected, books that I find very, very useful in my work designing vehicles. Some of them are new, some of them I've collected just in my travels from working around the UK and working in North America. Now I'm going to start off with some books that you can get on Amazon. Some of them you probably already know, but it's always good just to go over some of these books. They're reasonably priced. You're not going to find them too expensive, but I do recommend that you check out old bookstores, because you never know, you might be able to find some of these books secondhand, going cheap, maybe on eBay or Craigslist. Some of my other books you're going to find are even on eBay and Craigslist. They can be very expensive, so you have to do a little bit of haggling there. So, first book I use, that I've referenced quite a bit, is Drive. This is by Scott Robinson, Daniel Gardner, and Anis Naim. It's a very good book. It's from the Scott Robinson's Design Press Studio website for books, and I find that this book has got some really, really strong concepts. Books that it's kind of hard to show you up here, but I recommend you Google Scott Robinson, go to his website, watch some of his videos on YouTube, and you'll see that he covers quite a bit in this book. It starts off with kind of like Mars explorers, and the designs are very, very strong. He's got some concepts there, some very good concepts, and they don't look like traditional vehicles. He really does go to the extremes. If you've ever seen any of his Gnomon DVDs, they're very cool. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of insight, and they're good for reference. They can. If you look at these books, read his excerpts, you're going to find them very, very useful. So I use Drive. I think this one came out 2000. Could be wrong. I think it was maybe 2009. Could be 2009, 2010. But it's a relatively new book. Highly recommended. Drive by Scott Robinson. Another book I really like using for my car designs, vehicle designs, is Cosmic Motors by Daniel Simon, and the book has actually got a foreword by Sid Mead, who's one of my favourite concept artists and industrial designers. If you're into films, you'll know that Sid Mead worked on Tron 1 and Star Trek, and he's worked on a lot of other films, most famously Blade Runner as well, with Ridley Scott. And the cool thing is that there's a lot of similarity between Daniel Simon's work and Sid Mead's work, but the cool thing is Daniel Simon in his own right has his own style, and you've probably seen his work if you watched Tron Legacy. And most recently, Captain America, he did the car for Red Skull, and that was a really cool design. And again, if you go to Daniel Simon's website, you will see some of his concepts. And what I'll do is I'll supply all these links to my in my posting, so you guys can access them and have a look at these guys, because they're really, really good. And what I love about Cosmic Motors is just the detail that he puts in. You see some really solid kind of marker designs, and I like the way that he takes his marker designs and he makes them into full-on 3D renders. You can see he's got kind of a futuristic racing vehicle there. Yeah, and you know, it's got high resolution render, probably a very high polygon count and high resolution texture applied with surface material attributes, and it looks really cool. And you get a real feeling of a real world environment, even though these vehicles only exist inside a computer. You know, he's managed to create the visual look that makes these things look real. They have presence, and I mean, a lot of that could be down to the render, but it's because his designs are so solid, and it doesn't look gimmicky. It looks real. And I think he actually had a quote on his website where he said that Kanye West said his vehicles were the best vehicles that didn't exist or have never really existed. So really cool. I got this book, I think about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and again, it's a Design Press Studios book, and it's very, very good, and I like using this one for reference. He's also got some character designs in here, which is very good for reference. That's Cosmic Motors, my second one. And third one, this is one of my favourites, by my favourite artist. This is Obligon by Sid Mead. I think this is a second generation print, and you can see mine's is a little bit battered, you know, a little bit damaged. And I bought this in London from Forbidden Planet back in, I think it was 99 or 2000, so it's about 10 years old. And this is a really, really solid book. I mean, just reading his descriptions alone, you get an idea of the thought process that goes into his concept designs. I mean, he's actually got, if I can find it, there was a concept design in here for a very old car that I remember in the UK. I think it was a Datsun. It was an old Datsun design. Here it is. Is this it? Oh, crazy. Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's a Honda. He did a Honda Prelude design. And I actually remember this car. There you go, if you can see it there, if I can hold it up to camera. I actually remember this car in the UK back in the late 80s, early 90s. And, you know, as a rendition of a a concept for a car that you'd go out and purchase, I would go out and buy this car because it looks cool in the way he's portrayed it. And so I actually do remember this car. His artwork is just superb. I mean, you look at his work. If you've watched any of the Aliens films, like the original Alien and Aliens, the Jim Carpenter sequel, that's all Sid Mead. The environmental design for the Sulaco, for the Nostromo in Aliens 1, that's all Sid Mead. And in this book, you actually get to see some designs that he's put down for those films. It's also got the V'ger entity design in this book. So it's really, really good books. I was fortunate enough to meet Sid Mead back in 2007 when he came to Vancouver, where I'm living now, and it was really cool. You know, the guy is a really humble guy. You know, and just listening to his talks when he's describing some of the films that he's done concept art for, and he gave a really good talk in Vancouver about working on the Stealth film and how, you know, it was a complete disaster, and how they kind of booted him off the film, and then had then these producers had the audacity to blame him for the way the film turned out. So it's kind of cool listening to his take on the film. But anyway, get back to the book. Yeah, it's really, really cool. He worked on 2010. Got some concepts for the inside of the Russian ship there, you can see, and just some awesome artwork. So what I do is, whenever I'm really stuck for a vehicle design and environmental design, and I just can't get my brain into that mode where the ideas are flowing, I always go to my Sid Mead books. Now, I've got other Sid Mead books, but this one's one of my favourites. And when I met him, I actually got him to sign this book, which was a real great thing for me to get this guy's signature. Even though I actually had it printed in the book, I actually have him signing it as well. So that was really good. Good book. You can get these from Amazon. You might have some trouble with it because they're usually out of print. If you go to eBay or Craigslist, you might be able to hunt a couple of copies of this down, but they are expensive. Last time I checked, Obligon was about $300 to $400 just to get a a used version. But if it comes out for print, whenever you see, my advice is whenever you see a Sid Mead book come out for print, move heaven and earth to buy it because they're worth their weight in gold. Just moving on. One other, I like to buy magazines, or at least I should say I used to really like buying magazines. Obviously with the advent of the internet, a lot of the information that you'd get in magazines you can actually Google for if you put in the right word searches. But there's one magazine which I'm going to try and get my hands on next time I go back to Europe, and it's called Auto and Design. And it at the time of buying this one, I think this one cost me quite a bit, maybe £35. It's a very expensive magazine, and it's a bi-monthly English and Italian language magazine, and it basically showcases concept designs for vehicles, mainly the car industry. And you can see there's this is a take on the BMW car. I think it's from a couple of years back, where they had the shell of the car and they wrapped some kind of neoprene skin over the shell, and as the skeleton structure under the neoprene skin moved, the design lines, the flow lines of the car could change. It's a really cool idea. I think if you ever get a chance to, if I can hold this up, if you ever get a chance to see this car, it's a prototype, but the eyes with the lights would actually close like eyes. It's very, very cool. I really liked what they did with that. And I think this is probably going. I just can't really see the year on this. I think this could be maybe a 2004 version, but it's very expensive. It's very hard to get hold of, so I only have the one copy. But it just really showcases design in general, not just cars. You get see furniture and other aspects of design. What's the latest software, and up and coming car designers, vehicle designers. Very good magazine. Auto and Design, expensive, but if you can find it on eBay or Craigslist or Amazon or some other bookstore, get your hands on that. Very good for vehicle design. Just moving on, another magazine I used to import back in the day when I was living in the UK. A friend and I, we used to import and sell anime films from Japan, anime books, manga books, and Japanese concept art and magazines. And here I have one of my favourites, which is New Type. And this one is August 8th. I think it's about 1998. This one, actually, it says 85 to 91, so you can see how old it is. Was expensive at the time. I think they are still expensive, but you get genuine. I'm going to show you there. Genuine, almost comic strips. This is 5-star stories in there in Japanese native language, and the cool thing about these magazines is they do kind of a. Let me just see if I can find it. They do have sections where they show you, the latest up and coming anime, manga in Japan, and also they give you locations. So if you ever go to Japan, you know exactly which street they're on, and you can actually go to a taxi driver. Can you take me here? And you might be able to go and actually see where they make these animes or the mangas in Japan. This one's really good because especially now when you look at it, you got reference to old cameras, and I think they actually had some anime school information here, you know, where you could go to the school, and he got, I'm just going to show you here, it's a step-by-step of 3D art from 85 to 91 using Japanese software. So I found these very good for reference if you're making robots and transformer style vehicles. Very good for reference because you're getting, you know, kind of another take, the Japanese take on vehicles, which is very, very cool. Nowadays you might be able to pick up more information online, but obviously when I was getting these it was very hard to get a hold of, and so these were actually changing hands for quite a bit of summer money, which was very cool. So there we go, New Type magazine. Another one that I found really useful was, this one's probably a little bit more easier to get a hold of, is Hobby Japan. Now this is a modelling magazine. It's almost like a catalogue, you can see how thick it is, and with these you get like the kind of vinyl toy or maquettes of favourite characters. You got Chun-Li there, and this, just to put this into context, this is July 1992, so basically at the time we probably couldn't get these in North America or in Europe. It was only in Japan, and they were probably exchanging, you know, if you think of a Chun-Li model, it's probably, here it's got 4,800 yen, which is about $48, and back in the day that would probably, with import, you're talking close to probably $100 because it would have doubled plus with tax. Now you can just go down to any shopping mall, if they've got a comic shop or a games workshop or some kind of board gaming shop, you're probably going to be able to pick those up really, really cheap. Also, if you go to eBay and Craigslist, you can pick up these. See here, we've got more models. We've got like the aliens and got some cars. You can pick up all these things relatively cheaply, so it's really good. It was great for reference because you'd be seeing models that you wouldn't normally see in the West, so very, very cool. So you got bikes there, and a lot of the time I get some really great ideas for vehicle designs out of these magazines. So again, it's really handy, always good to have, and great reference. There you go, like the Votom robots there. Again, really, really cool. So that's just a kind of a brief. Actually, just before, there you go. It's there's the Nostromo, which is kind of ironic because just talking about Sidney designing it, and there's the actual model in a Hobby Japan that you could have purchased back in the day. I'm actually curious to see if you could probably get that. You might find it tricky to get the Nostromo. You can see the cool thing about Hobby Japan is when it opens up, you get nice kind of picture plans of all the. See, that's the escape pod from the Nostromo in the film. And some really, really good reference. So that's just a brief overview of some of the books that I use for reference. I have a lot more. I'm constantly Googling, looking for books. When I do a shopping run, I'm looking for books. I tend to buy. I tend to be more specific now on the books that I look for, mainly because I'm usually drawing or modelling or doing some textures. So if I have an idea, I usually have enough reference as it is now. But it's always good to go out and check out these books. Go to bookstores, your chapters, your book. Oh God, I'm just trying to think of the your W.H. Smiths if you're in Europe or England. Your Lawsons in Japan. Just check out these bookstores. You never know. You can always get your hands on these things, and they're great for reference. Okay, so I'll be signing off now. This is Roger from Tiger Shark Studios, and I'll see you in the next video where I'll probably discuss making spaceships and robots, because that's kind of my pet passions, is to make spaceships and robots, and I'll probably have some videos to show you then. So until then, bye bye.